What's up, guys? We are obviously in probably the most interesting situation for the playoffs this year. Of course, I got my co-host on, Ivan, as always. Ivan,
Yes, sir.
of course, got him a big win tonight that kind of kept him out of the shits
Top of the morning, top of the morning.
that are about to take place, and so definitely excited to get this show started. Excited to talk about what could and could not possibly happen. Um, so for everyone that's going to be able to chime into the show, I know for some of you, um, it's a tad bit later, depending on where you live. Um, if you're most war veterans go to sleep on time, so I
Mm,
don't expect them to be available.
no, no. Really surprised at the super late 6:30 game they played. So um, definitely, definitely surprised by that. But yeah, no, that's neither here nor there.
Absolutely. And before you know what, before we advance, because again, like we wanted to do this in between the radio show. Um, let's go ahead and have this conversation. Um, this has been fun, y'all. But first of all, it's been
It has,
frustrating.
man. It
It's
has.
it's been frustrating, but we are here. We're finally here to this point. um,
Man.
for the playoffs. And so, man, I could, the fact that I know who's going to be bothered after this show makes me kind of feel
Mm,
bad that I've made people wait
okay.
this long. But
Right.
AFC, I think obviously it's pretty much guaranteed. It's set at this point.
Okay.
Um, not a lot of change on this side. Interesting about the kind of
Wow.
interesting situation about these games. Um, why I really wanted people to play that had playoff implications. If they
Mhm.
missed, just what it is. But the biggest reason I wanted people to play is because I really like who's going to have to play who in the
Mhm.
playoffs. Like, I really like the matchups for the playoffs. That's what makes it so exciting. Um, because we're going to see some upsets and we're going to have some pick'ems, obviously, for the playoffs. The NFC, um, this is fun. This is really fun because, like, obviously you have the Vikings, Falcons, the football team, and yourself are currently guaranteed. And then you have the Cardinals, you have the Bucks,
Mhm.
Giants, Rams, and the Seahawks that are all going to be sitting
At 11-6.
at 11-6. And so,
Which
um,
guarantees that two teams at 11-6
oh, two feelings are
will
hurt.
be on the outside looking in.
So somebody's gonna be hurt tonight, and that's unfortunate.
Mm.
It's unfortunate that a user's gonna have to go through this. But I mean, guys, like I said, I did a, I simmed the playoffs in the old league we're in all the way up to this point. So unless
Wow.
Madden does something screwy, I have a pretty
Mhm.
good idea of who's going to get in. Um,
Any chance you're going to share
oh yeah,
that
because we're about to
before you
advance it.
actually pull the trigger? Okay.
No. I don't think we should do that. But my first question to you is: did you expect the NFC? See, I knew the NFC was going to be a rough road for everybody.
Mhm.
Are there any users that are currently in the NFC right now looking into the playoffs that you are shocked are still in the race?
Um. Well, honestly, no. And I believe everybody who's in the race, not necessarily everybody who makes it in. I believe everybody that's in the race, um, along with. So I don't want to get too far ahead, but I just think next year is going to be ridiculous. We are past all the stop and start.
Yep.
You have your team.
Yep.
Hopefully, if you guys are smart, you have built your teams to your play style. That's the goal. It's not just about having the best team with I got all these guys in the 90s. No, that's not it. How do you play? Do you have the personnel that suits how you play so that you can just go out there and function? Hopefully, we'll have more teams in that position after the draft than what we currently have right now. So I'm thinking about users like hopefully Mike can play because like I want competition. As
And
we
that's
look
going to
at
be
these
good comp.
standings,
That's going to be good
yeah.
comp for Isaiah. That's going to be good
As
comp
we
for Isaiah in that division.
as we look at these standings, um, it's obvious the better records are in the NFC. There is like we've got teams who are going to be well over 500 on the outside looking in. And then, so like I'd say there are at least 14 real contenders to make it into the playoffs. Um, so
Well,
I
the
mean
thing,
that's crazy. That's
and
crazy. You
and
know.
as we kind of get to the point where we're going to advance this, so everybody can see it. Um, I think that's what makes the NFC and AFC. We're thick on. I think we're thick on both sides. But what I like you said, you're going to have two users that don't make it that had a good season in the NFC. But then you've got one, two. You've also got three, maybe four guys in the NFC that are capable. And then in the
Hmm.
AFC, I think you still have the same situation. Um, I think you still have a few guys. I mean, myself, I think Top will be better next year. I expect the Bills to be better next year. Um, I mean, the Raiders had a good season up to this point. I think the Ravens had a decent season up to this point. He finished 7-10. Titans 8-9. I mean, there's definitely been some, I think, quality
Hmm.
games on both sides of the um, spectrum. But we are going to advance this some bitch, and
Oh,
man,
let's
I
go.
feel bad. I feel bad because I should have just went on ahead and said who made it and who didn't earlier. But
True. That's
I
true.
mean, guys, we wouldn't be the league we were if we didn't make you hurt for the entire
A
day.
league
I can
full of assholes, starting
I
at the top. It
I
is what
can
it is.
I can
I'm
imagine
sorry.
somebody working at the warehouse or sitting behind a
Mm.
desk or having to deal with patients or like
Oh my
dealing with
God.
their baby mama, whatever it is. And the
Oh
whole
no.
time, like you're dealing with real life and this video game is finna
Mm.
impact. I hope it don't impact that much, but
Nah,
we're
not that
definitely,
much.
we're definitely going to go ahead and advance to
Oh,
these
oh.
playoffs. So straight off, going to the playoff bracket and let me tell you, um, what it looks like is exactly how it's been. The teams that were in the playoff bracket in the beginning are ultimately still in the playoffs. So you still have the Rams, you still have the Seahawks, you still have Arizona, you still have Washington. And the biggest reason for that, guys, was because Madden looks at division wins won, conference wins, and then head to heads. So it breaks that down, and then then the next thing it goes to is like points for and points against. So now that we have advanced it, as you can see, the playoffs are going to be rocky. This is going to be some nasty shit. I'm excited for this. It kind of hurts a little bit that I'm not going to be a part of this, but man, I run the show, so I'm okay with watching it. And but I'm gonna go ahead, post the schedule again. Like I said, it's gonna be between. I felt like the Bucks, and I definitely felt like Brad deserved to get in. Um,
Uh-huh.
I will be honest. I'm kind of glad that Madden didn't put Tristan in the playoffs just because he didn't play the football team. And I think Tristan's a good player. I just don't know. if he actually would have won that game. And um, so
Mm,
here we go. Uh,
man.
let's go ahead and break this down. Um, and again, this is what we were excited about, as to what we get to see. Um, I really hate that I'm finna give my predictions completely, but, um,
Uh-huh.
so we're going to do this.
Uh-huh.
Um, let's start with,
In the AFC.
no, well, not necessarily the AFC. Let's start at the top of both sides. Let's just start at
Okay.
the top and work our way down. Because I think the further you go, the crazier the show. And so
Mm.
this is um, definitely interesting.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead and start at the top. You have the Steelers and the Bengals in the AFC. Quiet as kept. I haven't. What do you think on this game?
I am going to call the Shock the World. I'm going to call Shock the World. Um, Partially because I think there's some possum playing that happened. I think that both of these users pulled their foot off the gas strategically.
Both are just one.
And
Both are just one. Both are just one.
no, no, I think both pulled their foot off the gas strategically. And I think what we're about to see is an epic battle. Like, like all playoff games, a mandatory stream. Gotta happen. I'm gonna be selling policies and watching games tomorrow. I'm looking forward to that. I'm gonna call the Bengals in an upset of the Steelers.
Hmm. Bengals in an upset to the Steelers. That's a
I'm
tough one.
calling Bengals in an upset to the Steelers.
That is a tough one for me because the reason this game is so tough is one, both users like to do one thing, and that's run the ball.
That's it.
There is a natural desire to run the ball. The Steelers started off with the best defense in the league, and expect the I really expect his defense to show up in the playoffs. I do think that I do think Jeremy has a shot in this game. I do think it's going to be a close game. Um,
I mean, it's totally okay to just say you disagree. That's totally fine. I'm telling you
what's the well? Let's
what
say
I
the
thoroughly
margin.
feel.
Let's do the margin
So,
because I'm gonna put these in the pickums
mm,
um for the league as we go through uh go through these picks.
I'm gonna say the Bengals win by a touchdown.
Okay, and I'm gonna say the Steelers pulls out a close game.
Mm,
That's what I'm gonna go with. Steelers wins by a close game. But I agree. Honestly, this one is a toss up because they play the same. It literally comes down to, is Joe Mixon going to be completely too much and you can't stop the run, which, we won't talk about
mhm,
what we've
mhm,
learned on the show.
mhm,
Um, or will it be the Najee Harris show? We just don't know. Um, but I'm gonna lean on the Steelers just because I feel like ultimately when it comes down to um, the mistake happening, I think he's not going to make that mistake that cost him the game. Um,
mhm,
and if Jeremy plays any kind of way the way he just played against DTZ, I don't expect him to beat him. But um,
mhm.
so it looks like we're about 1-1 on that one. The next game is the Falcons and the Rams.
I just want to see that game. I just want to see it. I just want to see it, man, because I mean, man, I really think, like, I think the worst time to play the Falcons is coming off a game they just had.
Yep.
I think that's the worst time to see them. And I saw the Rams on, like, potentially on the outside of the playoffs looking in and slayed the Giant to win, to get in. So I think that's just a good game. I honestly do not know who's going to win that game. I would not be surprised if you told me Justin James won by 10. I would not be surprised if you told me Gruski won by 20. That is, it's just, that's one to just get your popcorn and enjoy. I have no idea who wins that game.
So I'm actually going to flip on this one. I
Mm,
think I'm going to take the underdog, the
uh-oh.
seventh seed, um,
Mm,
over Justin James, and here's why. I think Justin James is the best playoff player we've ever had in the league. Like, he's the one guy I know that if he makes the playoffs, he's guaranteed going to make it to the Super Bowl. That has been the norm for him since he's played in the league. But um, I think I think it's going to change.
mm.
I think the way Gruski has played these last few games to fight his way into the playoffs. Here's the struggle. He's been in a fight to get into the playoffs, so the pressure has
He's been
changed.
fighting.
He's been
Yeah,
doing
he's been
nothing but
fighting.
fighting. He hasn't
That's
had
it.
a week of relaxation, and
Uh-uh.
so um, and so
Well, I mean,
with
honestly, nobody in NFC outside of uh
the Vikings,
Isaiah. That's it.
yeah.
It's been crazy all year.
You know what? I'm gonna flip. You're right. I'm gonna stay with the Falcons. I think Justin James is
Mm,
he's playoff different. He's playoff different.
mhm.
I can't explain it. For whatever reason, in the playoffs, at some point he figures it out. But it's hard to say. It's hard to say. But you know what? I'm gonna stick with my gut. I'm gonna go with the Rams. I'm gonna go ahead and say
Okay.
the Rams uh, pulls this one out. Uh, what are your thoughts? What?
I respect it, man. I think that's a good one. Like I said, I can see either one. Uh, uh, yeah. I mean, man, listen. I'm not sleeping on either one of those teams.
Well, because we both know, be, but I think because it comes down to it comes down to will Gruski be able to run, and then will will Gruski be able to run, or will Justin James be able to have the passing game of his life?
Right.
Because I mean, that's it. If whichever style is stopped is going to determine the win, and I just think the run game is going to be much more beneficial than Justin James' style of passing, and especially with those receivers. I mean, the Rams has the opportunity to knock in some man defense, knock out Calvin Ridley. I mean, you got to control Kyle Pitts, obviously, but then at the same time, Justin James has a defense that can be messy in the playoffs for you. So, um, I mean, it's tough, but I'm going to stick with the Rams winning. I'm not too sure about that one, but we'll see.
Yeah. I mean, if you force me to
That's
pick one, I'm gonna pick the Falcons if you force me to pick one. But
if I was
again,
putting my money on it, I'd pick the Falcons. I ain't gonna
if
cap.
you force me to pick one, I'll pick the Falcons. But if
Yeah,
you come tomorrow and Gursky won by 20, oh okay,
yeah. If I,
not
yeah,
not surprised. Or if the Falcons had the ball last, hit a 50-yard field goal for the win, not surprised. That's gonna be a game. I just want to see that game with those two users, those two styles, those two teams. That's gonna be a good game to watch.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I agree. If cash on it, I'm gonna take Justin James. The desire to just simply get his name back to where I think he wanted to be when he first got in the league is what makes me think Russia's going to pull it out. But
Hmm.
another tough game. That's what I love about the playoffs this year.
Playoffs are fun.
You know, they both play they both play the pass pretty well. So now we're flipping over to the AFC.
Oh my God.
This
It's the all defense bowl.
this game
Let's go.
I have no clue. I have no clue. I have no clue. It's going to come down to, it's like you said, the defensive bowl. It's literally going to come
It's
down
all
to,
defense. Two great defensive users. Um, I believe the Colts is rocking with that Jordan Love, if I'm not mistaken.
yeah, he has
Um,
Jordan Love. I don't remember who the Patriots, I think he still has Mac Jones.
he's got Mac, and I mean, man, listen. If he ever gets his offense to where his defense is, Patriots is a top 10 user. If he ever gets his offense to where his defense is,
Oh, absolutely. I mean, he was, when he had the
he's not
Packers,
somebody you want to see.
yeah, when he had the Packers
Mm-mm.
last year, I thought he was a top 10 user then. It's hard to come in with a young new quarterback trying to
Mm-hmm.
figure him out, so you got to lean on
I
that
feel like
defense.
all the young quarterbacks, with the exception of Kyler, like we forget Kyler is young,
Hmm.
but like with the exception of Kyler, I feel like Madden, just about all the young quarterbacks are really sporadic. Like Trevor will just be there, receivers wide open, 20 yards over his head, no pressure, no problem. So I see a lot of that out of Mac. But if you're forcing me to pick somebody, I'm gonna pick. Uh, I think the Colts has a bit more offensive savvy. I've seen more offense out of the Colts. I'm gonna pick the Colts for the upset.
So we have been opposite on every choice so far.
Yeah,
That's what this
yeah.
is. This I'm gonna tell you why I think the Patriots are going to win. One
And their
reason and one.
defense, it's
Absolutely,
incredible. Defense is
absolutely.
fucking awesome. Again, like that's not cap or blowing smoke. If Buddy ever gets that offense to where that defense is, yeah. But
The biggest, I think the biggest piece for me for the Pats has everything to do with who he beat on his schedule that are top 10 users versus the Colts. Colts didn't beat
mm,
anybody in the top 10.
mm,
And I got to lean on that experience piece of finishing games, closing games. I mean, he's won some close, low scoring games this year. I think the Colts is a good player. Of course, we got Top in the chat giving us his, the in
I mean,
facts,
hey,
who will beat who.
at this point, when Top calls it, I gotta put respect on it.
Yeah,
Like at
he's
this
called a lot of
point.
games so far. Yeah, for a man in a Honda Civic, he's got that Elon
Oh
Musk
no! Oh no!
mindset working.
Oh no!
He's putting a lot together. But yeah, so we are split. We are split on the
Yeah,
Pats and Colts. I mean, that's like you said. It's defensive. It comes down to a lot of run. You're gonna have some the run game moving. You're gonna have some not too many big shots. Trust in the defense. Um,
right.
so
I mean, but like again, I've seen more offensive versatility out of the Colts than what I've seen out of Money uh Mike there with the Pats. Um, but I'm just thinking back to it. He did have Aaron Rodgers previously and Devontae Adams, so that that will help you out. I think he's just got to get Mac Jones built up, and then he'll have something. But if I've got to pick, I'm gonna pick the Colts.
I can't with top right now. But and then the next game, I cannot. I can't. I cannot. I can't do it with top right now. But And I'm gonna have to put his picks on the. I'm gonna have to put his picks on there because he was not wrong. He called
He wasn't.
Rome winning that game. He called you winning that game. He said, "Keep going." No, we're gonna end the show right there.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's it.
the the next game
Mm.
now it's getting fun.
Hey, and so shout out, lots of respect to each of these users. Um, Washington football team, I low key feel you were disrespectful to post in the chat and ask if Rome could play tonight, knowing that Rome has been asleep since
Right.
5:30. He had his applesauce. He put on his special socks and has curled and tucked himself into bed and will not arise for at least 8 more hours. But no, so he's definitely not available tonight. In all seriousness, uh, doesn't look like a good idea to pick against a Civil War vet, but I'm gonna pick against a Civil War vet. I'm gonna go ahead and go with the Washington football team to euthanize the Seattle Seahawks.
So let's go
And
look at the schedule real quick because this 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 one out of all the predictions that I had uh set, this was the hardest game to choose from, and it had a lot to do with, to be honest with you, just how inconsistent both of them were all season. Like, what I mean is like the games they lost that I thought they should have won, and then the games they won that I expected them to lose. I mean, the football team, he beats the Falcons, gets a big win there.
yep.
Then he takes an L to you. Then
Now these are the simulation games, so
yeah,
like
yeah.
those
So don't look
point
at the
totals
scores. Yeah,
don't matter.
they don't matter. Then you have to look at, he lost to Brad, which, at that point in the season, things start getting real. He wins against the Panthers. Now, him and Rome did play earlier this season. This was not a simmed game, and he lost to Rome by
Right,
3.
right.
So he lost a close game to Rome by 3.
So
Um,
again, Rome. I think I've made this very clear. Um, Rome, like if you were to flip to Rome's his record and games he's played, he doesn't necessarily blow a lot of people out. Usually, some magical, amazingly fluke-tastic play happens, and ball gets tipped, batted 5 times, and
ref
oh,
goes
Rome
blind for
ref goes blind,
for no
doesn't see,
reason
pull
on
out the
third
brass
down.
knuckles, and like not. It's wrestling when you play Rome. The referee gets knocked out. 5 dudes come on the field, block, and then he runs to the right. And oh, it's a touchdown. The ref wakes up, and you're in the end zone, and he puts his hands up. That's what happens whenever Civil War veteran and survivor of World War I, Rome, when he plays. So it happens. Um, the fact that it was a 3 point game tells me that that was probably what happened. Um, so I'm not too surprised by that. I do believe that the football team will be more patient this time. It will not make the mistake that probably cost them that game. And it all depends on when they play. I would advise him to play him as close to the evening as possible. He starts getting tired about 4:30,
Yeah, about
so if you can
4:35.
4:30, 5 o'clock, he's looking for his bed and a nap. So if now don't play him before after he's had his nap, because then he's totally different. But if
Oh,
you want to catch him before he gets that nap, before he watches Murder She Wrote and Kojak, and before he watches all of those SVU um and the news, you definitely want to make sure you catch Rome, and that's when you want to play him. But
so
I'm
the
gonna go ahead and take the football team.
the thing about the stats when I looked at their game, the very first thing I saw is that Washington started the game hot, and he just didn't put a lot of points up to finish the game, and it looked like Rome started figuring him out as far as getting to the second half of the game, and ultimately he just put up more points, like you said, than the football team. But their yards to
Uh-huh.
gain are damn near even.
Right.
Their offensive passing yards, there's only a what 50-yard difference. Neither one of
Yeah.
them could run the ball on each other. This is going to be a close game. I expect it to
It's
be a close
another
game.
really good game. It's another really good game to watch. We got some good games for week one.
I think um here's the thing. I think if Rome comes out and plays the Washington football's team, if he plays JB's game, he plays JB Stack's game again,
Uh-huh.
he's going to get slaughtered.
Mm.
If he plays JB Stack's game again with the
Mm.
Washington football team, it will not be a close game. And the only reason I say that is because when you look at the stats quarter by quarter, I mean, Rome had some luck come his way. Um,
Of course he did.
like you said, he had those moments. Now, here's the thing. Rome is very, very capable of smacking dude. I'm not saying
Oh, for sure.
Rome definitely has the skill to do it. Um,
Aside all the jokes and disrespect, Rome is probably one of the best users I've seen play Madden. Just
absolutely.
facts.
Yeah,
I'll
and
put that respect out there, but I'm gonna tuck in some more disrespect because I would say he's one of the best users I've seen that plays that has dentures. So like, put that
mm,
out there. Put that out there. He does have dentures, but no, continue. My bad.
and so just with that game, I think um I think unfortunately I'm gonna have to agree with you that I think the Washington football team wins this game. Now, here is what makes this interesting to me. If
Uh-huh.
the Rams lose to the Falcons, which the more we talk on the show, the more I feel like that may be where I need to switch my pick. But um, then all of a sudden, Rome would go up and he would play Isaiah. The crazy thing about that game is I think Rome beats Isaiah. And all of a sudden, the NFC becomes a wide open scenario. Just like that. I don't, Isaiah's my
So,
dude.
so, so you don't believe? So what you're saying is you don't believe the Rams beats Isaiah twice?
No, 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 absolutely not. No,
Okay.
no. I think if there's anybody that it is a for sure, um, no, whatever he did against Isaiah that night, I mean, that's great. I think Grucci's a solid player, but he's not going to have that same kind of game again. Unless he just, you know, does something that's, outside of the rules, which I don't know if that's going to
Mm.
happen or not. I mean,
Oh wow.
I'm hoping nobody does that in the playoffs because these games
Ah.
do be streamed, and I'm going to make sure that I'm going to tag every user in the rule book. I
Oh
will
no.
be seeing every single game. Do not think there will be a game played and my eyes won't be on it. If you are
Mm.
making or breaking a rule, I will ask each user, hey, please stop the game, turn it off, whatever it is. We're not going to play that way. So I hope everybody understands that piece as far as in the playoffs. So, but with that being said, um, I think it's hard to say the football team's not going to win this game just because if Rome starts the game slow like that, I just don't see it happening. However, if Rome wins that game, it's going to be interesting. But I think I agree with you. We're both going to lean on the football team to uh, knock Rome off. Now, Top is saying that the Seahawks are going to destroy the Washington football team. So I just want to make sure we acknowledge the guy that has been
Mm.
absolutely right on
It's
all
been
of his
spot
picks
on.
so far. The next game is the Chargers and the Browns. Another game that Um, I'm not sure if these users have played each other or not this season. They did play this season. It was an early game. Looks like the Chargers lost to DTZ originally earlier in the season on a forced win, might I add.
Oh,
They did
oh,
not play. So
oh.
these stats are not valuable for us. It's really kind of hard
So,
to say who
so you say
DTZ.
it was a forced win?
Yeah. DTZ got a forced win.
Oh, he got a. I didn't know he got a forced one.
No, he
Okay.
got a forced win.
Oh, he did get one though.
He got
Okay,
a
okay,
forced.
okay,
Yeah,
okay, okay.
he got a few of those them
Oh,
FWs.
he had some of those. Okay,
Yeah,
okay,
he got a
okay,
few of
okay.
those. Got a few of those.
He had some of
Yeah,
those.
yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay.
If
Yeah.
Murder She Wrote was on Madden, uh,
Ah,
just
forced win he wrote. Okay, okay.
DTZ is somewhere in the background holding a cigar because
Mm,
Buddy got him, and it's not his fault. It's not DTZ's fault to go. I mean, hey,
not at all.
but um, with that being said, oh, never mind. DTZ said they played in the old league. I cannot confirm or deny with all these FWs that he got. But then you know that who do you think pulls out this game?
So, I've seen a different DTZ playing.
I'm not gonna lie, I have two.
I've seen the DTZ focused, locked in. He's playing really, really well. He's winning games that he used to lose.
That's tough.
I don't know if he gets his first ever playoff win. I mean, I would love to see it. Um,
This is tough for me.
I'm gonna go ahead and pick DTZ.
This
I
is
respect Frizzle. I don't think DTZ will underestimate him. Uh, but I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna pick DTZ to win that game, especially based upon what I've seen in Madden recently. Again, styles make fights, and I think DTZ has the formula to be successful.
this. This is the hardest one for me to like wrap my mind around because uh, Frizzle plays a no mistake game. His goal is simply waiting for you to
To
make the
make a
mistake.
mistake.
He's not going to play like most users, especially in the playoffs. Like, I think that's what makes him and the Steelers so similar to me is if they if they lose, they're just going to lose from the space of you just beating them. But they're not going to lose by making the mistake. So but then on the flip side, DTZ has um I mean he's figured out that team.
Uh-huh.
If you'd have told me if you'd have told me he was going to beat Jeremy, I'd have said fuck out of here, just because of how he's been playing this season. He played a close game against the Steelers in his division. Um, I'm going to be honest with you, Ivan.
Uh,
I gotta
go
go with
go go
DTZ.
go ahead and say it. Yeah. Uh-huh.
I gotta go with DTZ, and
You do.
that really bothers me.
It should. It should.
my
Yes.
my skin is crawling. But here's the thing: as crazy as this sounds, I think if DTZ wins this game,
Oh boy.
he will be in the AFC Championship. I'm calling it right now. If he wins this game, he's in the AFC Championship. I think whoever wins this game is in the AFC Championship. You can't breathe over there. I need you to come back. You can't breathe over here. What's going
Listen,
on?
listen. According to my picks, I'm just looking at it. Yeah, I agree.
Because here's the thing.
According to my picks, I agree.
It's hard for me to look at. it's hard for me. Okay, so I mean, again, we're just breaking down, guys. This is what we love to do. Like we love talking football. Period. Um,
Period.
just looking at the just scenario, if the Steelers wins against
Hmm.
the Bengals and the Patriots win against the Colts, then what that would mean is you would have 1, 2, 3, and 5. Now, DTZ would go up to play the Texans. It's really hard for me to disrespect the Texans like that and be like he wouldn't, that he's not going to get past the Texans. But here's the thing. It all comes down to how DTZ plays. If he plays like he has the better team, there's no reason for the Texans to stay in that game.
Wow.
There's no reason. As good as the Texans is, as good as he is, there's no reason for him to stay in that game against DTZ if they were to play. Um, I mean, ultimately, that's why I said the Texans was going to lose to Rome. It wasn't because I thought Rome was the better user. It was because Rome is going to lean on the fact that he has a better team, and he's going to make sure that between him, the refs, COVID, that he was coming out with a W. Either way, Rome was getting out of that game. Um, and so, uh, I mean, that's tough. It's tough. I mean, ultimately, I can't do it. I'm gonna go with Frizzle. I'm sorry. I can't do it. I just can't. I can't do it. I think I think DTZ is definitely going to make this a game. I definitely think it's going to be a close game. It's going to come down to who makes that mistake first, and
Hmm.
it's not going to be Frizzle. It's
Okay.
it's not going to be Frizzle unless Miles Garrett just has gets ridiculous pressure on him. Um, and DTZ is able to smack him on against the run. I just
Hmm.
it's a toss up to me, honestly. But I think the winner. I think the winner. I don't see Texans going to the Super Bowl. Um, which is I feel like I'm totally disrespecting probably the
I
best
mean,
user.
you have been mad disrespectful, and I need it to be clarified that those are your sayings.
He said my
Now,
sayings are not yours.
the views being expressed are that of the commissioner and the commissioner alone. But no, I didn't disagree with your premise, but then again, I have the Bengals and I have the Colts winning, which I think opens up the door for DTZ to dodge
to
the
dodge to
Texans,
dodge.
which is why I see him in that. If he gets through there, that's why I would see DTZ in the conference championship because he would dodge it. I think the Texans is the one team. I'll say the Texans and the Steelers are the one teams that DTZ doesn't want to see.
I agree. I agree. The more you communicate that, I agree because I and here's the thing: if the Bengals wins, he's got a hell of a shot beating the Texans. It's going to be Joe Mixon City. It's
When
gonna,
when I talk about disrespect, oh my God, yo, again, these are the thoughts and opinions of one Jabbar Greeley.
no, well, I mean, again, hey, look,
Yeah.
I may not be Stephen A. Smith, but damn it, we're gonna tell it how it is because
Mm,
that's,
mm.
we haven't even got back to the NFC because, I mean, again, we're just doing scenarios. It comes down to
Yeah.
scenarios about, like you said, those paths. Because if Jeremy beats the Steelers, the Texans
Yeah.
does not have an easy game.
No, no, he
And
doesn't.
I'm not saying that Jeremy is just that much elevated as a user. I'm saying he's going to lean on Dr. Mixon. And there is not.
Don't give away the man's game plan now.
It's just, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, even though it's obvious.
The
Yeah.
Texans will not be able to stop that. He does not have the defense for it. There's just what it is.
And I'll say again, probably doing the most with the least,
Yep,
because that
absolutely.
Texans roster is.
He's gonna have to be perfect. He's gonna have to
Mm,
be perfect. Like no pressure, no way
mm-hmm,
around it. Yeah,
mm,
he's gonna have to be perfect. And so, which he's done that all season. To be
all
fair,
season. Yeah.
um, But yeah, I'm gonna. What's that Future song? How many people gonna be there? Like, ah, uh,
Mm,
I'm gonna give DTZ though. I'm gonna give DTZ the game. I'm gonna stick with what
wow.
my original prediction and just say agree with you that DTZ gets his first win, but yeah, train stops there. NFC, your game with J Rose. This is I don't know. I'm gonna tell you exactly how I see this game is the same way that I see the Rams and the Falcons. I see them the exact same way. Do you wish to speak, or are you gonna
Oh no
just?
no no! I'm just go ahead. I'm
No, no,
just
no. I'm gonna let you
I'm
give. Go
just
ahead and give your piece, so I
I'm
can
no no.
relate to the league.
Listen. I have made it clear. I've made it clear how I feel and what I believe. Nothing has happened this year that has caused that to waver in any fashion. Um, I went back and I had to have a heart to heart with my kitchen staff. Folks had come to the restaurant and folks had looked upon their schedule. They saw Fleur de Lis. They showed up to the restaurant. And they said the L's were cold. It hurt. But that's honest feedback. But I did just get a fresh shipment. Got it right before I played my last game. And, clean the grease trap out, put fresh grease in there.
Mm-hmm,
Um,
mm-hmm.
Things have been seasoned, tenderized, and marinated. Um, they hit the palate a little different with a nice Pinot Grigio 1975 special blend. But the L's are hot once again, and they're being ordered and they're being served. So please do come on down to Club Fleur de Lis. Get the finest table that we can offer, and I'm gonna serve them an L. I'm gonna beat them. And it's I have nothing else to say about it. Like it is what it is. If like I'm looking at the screen right now and I only see one Fleur de Lis. And the Cardinal sees a Fleur de Lis. And so he should just go ahead and put his L in there right now. That's all.
Yeah. So this one, it's look. I know you're my co-anchor. I know
I need somebody out there saying no though. So you've got to do your part. Go ahead.
we've had several incredible shows together. We've won uh we've won several different we've won several different rewards this year. Several
We won
different
Emmys.
we
We
won
won
Emmys.
Emmys.
We've
We got an award for best new podcast. What?
it's been great. But if there's one
Hey,
thing that my spirituality tells me to do on this show is we will not lie.
that's true. That's true.
And but before I break down y'all's game, the reason why the game between you and Jay Rose is very similar to Justin James and the Rams. To me,
Mm.
if you play Jay Rose's game,
Oh, I'll
it's
lose.
it's no question.
No question, I'll lose. Yeah,
Just is what it is. But if he plays your game,
it's a wrap.
it's a wrap. He's not going to see the end zone.
Mm.
And I think that's what makes this one a hard pick. I'm not the only game that I feel like I'm truly solid about is I'll be honest, Roman, Washington football team.
Yeah.
That's the only one I'm most comfortable with at this point. Just because I don't know what DTZ is going to do, one. But
Mm,
um, I'm going to say that Jay Rose pulls this game out.
mm,
I think it's a close game. I don't think it's a blowout in any situation in regards to on to who wins. So I'm making my picks based on my pockets for majority of these games,
mm.
except the Falcons and the Rams. Majority of these games is based on my pockets, which is hard for me because I feel like I should still choose Frizzle over DTZ when we're talking about
Mm.
pockets. But yeah, I'm gonna have to go with Jay Rose. The only reason is because his turn up is very different in the playoffs.
Okay.
And I think that's what makes this NFC so deep is because a lot of you guys have experience. A lot of you guys um I mean, I'll be honest with you, whoever makes it to the I'm just gonna go and call it on the show. Whoever makes it to the Super Bowl in the NFC wins the Super Bowl. I said it week 6. Whoever makes it to the Super Bowl in the NFC will win it. I just don't see it happening any other way. The teams, not it's not so much just that it's just better users as much as it is the fight that it's been week to week to week to week to week to week um, in the conference. Um, but I'm gonna give Jay Rose the edge on my pick'ems. However, I just like most games, it can go either way. It's just hard for me not to see the. It's hard for me to look at his experience and um, disrespect that space.
Sure.
Now, the opposite side of that, which makes it hard to disrespect your game, is because you just beat the shit out of Justin James. And so that's what also made that tough is I think he only put up what 3 points in y'all's game?
In Atlanta. Yes,
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
correct.
3 points.
Mm.
So, um, quiet as kept, he does not have a team this as the same as Arizona, but he is a good user, so you can't deny him that. But I'm gonna use that one for my pick'ems. Um,
Wow.
with
Okay.
Arizona. I guess the last
Mm.
what makes all of this interesting is how we were saying in the beginning is and we can do the scenario with the NFC as we've done with the AFC at this point is play the what if game. So let's just say you beat Jay Rose, Rome loses to Washington football team, and the
Yeah.
Rams beat the Falcons. So the Rams goes back to get play his game against the Vikings. That makes things interesting because there's a rematch. Isaiah is obviously going to be a different player, I expect. Um,
Yep.
um, then, well, I can't believe it. You and the veteran of the North all of a sudden will meet each
Hey,
other.
I
Um,
would love to play him again. I, too, have contacted the referees, and I've been told that I'll get a fair game the next time we play. So, no, I would love that. Uh, you know, definitely wanted to correct some mistakes. I do feel like I should not have. Like I look back at every game I played this year. There were the losses that I did give up. Yes, respect the player, good game, but I gave some games away. Um, up 17 in the fourth quarter, gave a game away against the Falcons, and I do believe that I made up for that with this game. I lost by 7 to Rome because Diggs ran 65 yards.
You've had some,
Up the field.
you've had your ups and downs, and I think that's what.
I would love to correct that loss by playing the Seahawks. I just don't see them getting past Washington.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, I feel like the more we say that, the more Rome's going to come out and do the exact opposite. That's what's so fun about this Pick'ems is um,
Definitely.
I was anti Rome, and then he goes out and smacks Jay Rose, and
I mean, but the way to be in life is anti-Rome. Um, it is what it is.
but I think but when I look at the scenarios from both sides, based on wins and losses, I think whoever wins out of your game and Jay Rose has the best path to the Super Bowl. And then I think whoever wins out of the Chargers and the Browns has the best. When I say best path, I mean probably the easier route uh, to the Super Bowl. I think whoever wins those games, um, they've got the better route as far as making it to the Super Bowl. But I mean, guys, of course, I see some questions about the and and I want to make sure I address this on the show. Um, and guys, I didn't want to post in the chat like what I had already seen as far as making the playoffs and the implications. To be honest with you, out of everybody that missed the playoffs, the only user that I think truly deserved it was Brad. Um, and again, I said that earlier was because the Giants got a forced win against Washington. Could Tristan beat Washington? I'm not sure. I haven't seen them play. I know Tristan did pull out some games this year. I also know Tristan got some lucky force wins. I think two this year as well. I think one against the Eagles, and then of course he gets one against the football team that almost slid him into the playoffs. But I mean, Brad is obviously the one guy that probably deserved to get in. Um, and again, that changes the playoffs. I mean, it's so crazy how close this season was for everybody that. Man, I just want to make sure I say for everybody that stuck with it this season and stuck with us with all the restarts. Excuse me.
Bless you.
Um, Thank you. And then just getting up to this point, um, these playoffs are going to be exciting. So everybody knows, and if you don't know, you just probably haven't been in here in a while. You probably haven't been in here when we do. At this point of the year, every single year of every single um season, the first three seasons, we do something different, add some kind of hell to the playoffs. So the question has been asked. And I don't know why it keeps being asked because I've communicated it, I feel like, in the chat, but I want to make sure I kind of clarify for everybody. Yes, injuries will be on the entire time of the playoffs. They will not be turned off. Week to week, they will be on in the playoffs. Now, of course, understand by the time we get to the end of the season, injuries will be off, so your players can get back to form and be ready for the next season. If they're not back to form, hell, you made the playoffs. Don't be too upset about it. But we've always done something, whether it's either been the injuries are back on, or it's always been something like a fourth down rule change, something to add to the playoffs to add a little more fuel to the fire. And so, yeah, so just make sure you're aware of that when you play your games. Injuries will definitely be on. For you guys playing in the playoffs, don't forget about your practice squad players. If you get out there and you practice full pads, just know you're gonna fuck yourself when it comes to playing these games. But last thing, not least, the playoffs are required to stream. There you are required. I want to make sure this is clear. I don't care who streams the game. Somebody must post in the chat a streamed football game. If the game is played and there has been no stream attached to the chat, it's you just don't do it. I'm just telling you, don't do it. Please respectfully make sure the game is streamed. If one user can stream, I don't care if it's home or away, whatever it is, get the games streamed. Obviously we're not just doing it for the aspect of just seeing the playoffs. We're doing it to make sure that if there's a rule being broken, if there's something that is happening during the games, that's why I love that we're starting the playoffs at this point where I'll have the weekend to kind of dissect and pay attention to what's going on. Ivan, of course, the other admins, even though I do have, I guess, two admins playing in the playoffs. Um, Make sure you understand the rules because the fourth down rule, for each rule that's broken in the playoffs, especially if you win that game, I need you to understand um, it's going to be heavy on your attributes for that next game you play. It's going to be heavy. And so be mindful of the rules. Be mindful that obviously I'm not as strict during the season as you can tell. I mean, Ivan knows it, everybody in the league, but again, in the playoffs, if you break a rule, just understand I'm not going to argue and go back and forth with you. I will make you aware of the rule I saw broken and it's going to be really simple. Whoever your best player is, whether it's your quarterback or your safety or your X factor right in, I'm just letting you know they will be brought all the way down to zero in their attributes for that next game. It may be two or three players. But one thing we're not going to do in the playoffs is break rules to win. So if you break a rule, and especially if it's caught, just again understand there's going to be um, some kind of disciplinary action for that. The other thing is if you guys aren't aware, I posted it in the chat how we're going to do the playoff rewards this season. So hey, to Ivan, to everybody in the league, congratulations, you made the playoffs. So you all will get at least a four attribute. Well, not all. If you lose in the wild card, let's make sure I clear this because I know. Um, if you lose in the wild card, but you made it, you will at least get four attributes. Um, you will at least get that. So, being that Brad had the same record, I'd already made the decision that whoever didn't make it in the NFC that had a similar record, so
Brad and Tristan.
Bad nutrition, they will get that four plus attribute. So if they're not listening to the show, that's going to be on them because they need to make sure to get it to me. And which I don't expect them to, obviously, at this point, knowing that they probably haven't made the playoffs. But you will get some kind of either stat reward or something for playing. But so yeah, so just be mindful of that, guys. Make sure to get somebody streams the game. One, be mindful of the rules. Two, I'm going to try and rewrite the rules in the morning so that just to make sure, like, you guys understand, like, oh man, I had a D tackle and I had him in spy. You telling me that's against the rules? Yes, bro. It's absolutely against the rules. It's always like it's there, like just what it is. So, other than that, man, I'm glad I'm again. Congrats for making the playoffs, everybody. I'm looking for this to be fun, and I'm going to let Ivan give any last words as we get ready to end the show.
Man, peace, love, and hair grease. Y'all enjoy the playoffs, man. Let's make it happen.
Alrighty, guys. Well, man, I hope y'all enjoy your night, and definitely look forward to the next show when we get this thing rolling. Um, Talk to you soon. Peace.